But this 1978 no-mint mark Lincoln penny shocked collectors when one sold for over $1.2 million. Yes, a simple coin most people would overlook turned into a millionaire's treasure. The story begins in the late 1970s, a time when millions of Lincoln pennies were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, none of them carrying a mint mark. To the untrained eye, they all looked the same. But hidden among the ordinary coins were a few extraordinary mistakes. Coins struck on the wrong metal, with off-center designs, or created from rare planchets that never should have existed. For years, these pennies slipped through fingers unnoticed. They circulated in pockets, cash registers, and jars on nightstands, until one coin collector found something that didn't quite look right. The color was different. The weight was slightly off. And when he looked closer, he realized he was holding a 1978 no-mint mark Lincoln penny that would change his life forever. But what made it worth over $1 million? It wasn't just luck, it was a combination of rarity, mystery, and history. Most 1978 pennies were made from a copper alloy weighing 3.11 grams. But a few were mistakenly struck on experimental planchets, possibly intended for foreign coins or transitional tests. These errors produced a completely different metal tone, slightly lighter, with a distinct ring when dropped on a hard surface. Collectors were stunned when word got out. The first confirmed specimen appeared at auction decades later, and bidding erupted like wildfire. Every major coin dealer wanted a piece of the story, and when the hammer finally fell, the coin had sold for over $1 million. The crowd was silent, then erupted in applause. But the mystery deepened. If one of these rare 1978 pennies existed, could there be more? Numismatists began combing through collections, checking every detail under magnification. The key, they discovered, was in the strike. On the valuable coins, Lincoln's bust appears slightly sharper, the date placement a hair off, and the rim shows signs of double striking, a rare occurrence caused by die misalignment. And here's where it gets even more fascinating. During that era, the U.S. Mint was transitioning coinage metals and experimenting with new alloys in anticipation of rising copper costs. Some experts believe these era coins were the result of leftover foreign planchets accidentally mixed into U.S. production lines. That single oversight created one of the rarest Lincoln pennies in American history. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. A small-town collector in Ohio discovered another example while searching through his father's old coin jars. It was nearly identical, no mint mark, same off-metal composition, same subtle doubling on the lettering. When certified, it was graded MS-66 read by PCGS, and it sold for nearly $1.2 million. The story made headlines, and the once-forgotten penny became a legend. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle. Dealers began reporting surges in requests for 1978 pennies, and prices for even ordinary ones began climbing. Everyone wanted to know, how can you tell if your penny is one of the rare ones? First, check for the mint mark, or rather, the lack of one. The Philadelphia Mint didn't use mint marks in 1978, so the absence is normal, but the key lies in the details. Examine the color and luster. A lighter, slightly golden or silvery hue can indicate a wrong metal strike. Next, weigh the coin. A standard copper 1978 penny should weigh about 3.11 grams. If it's significantly lighter, around 2.5 grams, you might be holding a transitional error. Then, look closely at the lettering around "In God We Trust" and "Liberty." On the rare specimens, a faint doubling can often be seen under magnification, especially around the B in Liberty, and the 9 and 8 in the date. These are the subtle signs that can separate a penny worth 1 cent from one worth over $1 million. Collectors who specialize in Lincoln cents often call the 1978 no mint mark era coin a ghost coin, because it appears so ordinary that most people never see it for what it really is. It's the ultimate reminder that true value often hides in plain sight. Imagine holding a coin that's passed through decades of everyday life, a grocery store, a diner, a child's piggy bank, only to discover it's one of the rarest treasures ever minted. That's what happened to a few lucky finders of this mysterious 1978 penny. Their stories became the kind of legends that inspire every coin collector to keep looking. And that's the beauty of this hobby. It's not just about history or metal. It's about discovery. It's about the thrill of finding something no one else has noticed for nearly half a century. A tiny detail, a forgotten coin, and suddenly, your life changes forever. So before you spend that old penny in your change jar, take a second look. Check the date. Feel its weight. Listen to the ring when it drops on a hard surface. Because one of those ordinary brown coins could actually be the 1978 no-mint mark Lincoln penny worth $1.2 million. Collectors were shocked. Dealers were speechless. And everyday people started checking their coins again, hoping lightning might strike twice. That's the magic of the 1978 penny. The idea that a piece of history can be hiding in your hand right now, waiting for you to discover it. It was a 2004 Lincoln penny, with no mint mark. At first glance, it looked ordinary, like the countless billions of pennies minted that year. But this one, this small copper coin, carried a secret that would soon shock the entire coin world. In 2004, the U.S. Mint was producing billions of Lincoln Memorial pennies across its three main facilities, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Each mint added its unique mark, a PD or S, but a few mysterious pennies slipped through without any mint mark at all. To most people, they were just spare change. But to collectors who understand how minting errors happen, a no-mint mark penny from that year raised an eyebrow. Something wasn't right. You see, by 2004, nearly all coins from the Philadelphia Mint had clear, bold mint marks. A missing mark usually meant one thing: a striking error, a die mishap, or a rare transitional planchet that somehow escaped the mint's rigorous quality checks. These mistakes are almost never supposed to happen. But when they do, they create some of the most valuable coins on Earth. And one of those 2004 pennies, missing its mint mark, would become one of the most talked about discoveries in modern numismatic history. The story began when a young coin enthusiast from Ohio emptied his pocket after buying coffee. Among the change, he noticed something odd. One penny had a brighter, richer tone than the others, almost as if it hadn't aged. Then he saw it. No D, no S, no P under the date. Just the year 2004, plain and clean. He thought it was just a minor oddity. But curiosity got the best of him. He posted a photo online, asking other collectors for opinions. Within hours, replies poured in. Some said it was nothing, others insisted it could be a major error. But one experienced dealer messaged him privately and said, "Do not spend that penny. Get it authenticated immediately." And what happened next stunned everyone. After careful examination, experts confirmed it was a genuine 2004 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, a coin struck from an unfinished die that was never supposed to leave the Philadelphia Mint. The detail was perfect, the strike was clean, and the lack of a mint mark made it one of the rarest modern pennies ever recorded. When it went to auction, the room went silent. Bids started modestly, but within minutes they climbed higher and higher, $10,000, $50,000, $100,000. Then, the unbelievable happened. A private collector placed a final bid for $1.3 million. The audience gasped. Collectors whispered in disbelief. A simple penny, one that could have been lost in a couch cushion, had just become a $1-million legend. It wasn't just a missing mint mark. Experts noticed something even rarer. The coin's surface had an unusual luster, a result of being struck on a transitional copper planchet, possibly left over from earlier years. Instead of the typical zinc-coated composition, it contained nearly pure copper. That combination, no mint mark and copper composition, created the perfect storm of rarity. Fewer than 5 examples are believed to exist today, and yet that's not the only twist in this story. Soon after the first sale, rumors spread that more no-mint mark 2004 pennies were circulating quietly across the country, found in old coin rolls, forgotten piggy banks, and dusty dresser drawers. Dealers began scouring every batch of 2004 pennies they could find. The U.S. Mint received countless calls from the public asking, "Could my penny be the $1 million one?" The frenzy grew. Coin forums exploded with new discoveries, people sharing photos, videos, and stories of nearly identical pennies. But most turned out to be regular Philadelphia strikes, their mint marks faint or worn from circulation. Only a true expert eye could tell the difference between a common coin and one worth a fortune. And here's where the story gets even more intriguing. Some of these rare 2004 no-mint mark pennies have slight doubling on the date, or lettering, a result of die shifting during the minting process. Those tiny imperfections make them even more valuable. A coin with both the missing mint mark and visible doubling could push its value far beyond the $1 million mark. Collectors were shocked. Dealers were desperate to get their hands on one. And treasure hunters across the country started emptying their coin jars, hoping to find their own hidden gem. But before you rush to check your change, here's what you need to look for. Start by examining the year, 2004. Then, look directly below the date on the front, or obverse side, of the coin. You should normally see a small letter, a D for Denver or sometimes a faint P for Philadelphia. If there's no mint mark at all, not even a trace, your heart should start racing. Under magnification, check for sharp detail and consistent color tone. If it's made of copper rather than zinc, the coin will weigh slightly more, about 3.11 grams instead of the standard 2.5 grams. That's your biggest clue. If your penny meets these conditions, don't clean it, don't polish it, and definitely don't try to alter it. Place it in a soft holder and get it authenticated by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. A genuine 2004 no-mint mark penny with these characteristics could make you an instant millionaire. Think about that for a moment. A penny, a single cent, could change your life forever. It's stories like this that keep coin collectors awake at night. Because for every famous discovery, there are still hundreds of rare coins waiting quietly in circulation, hiding in plain sight. The 2004 no-mint mark penny reminds us that the most ordinary-looking objects can hold extraordinary secrets. So next time you get change back from the store, look closer. That little copper coin might just be the next $1 million discovery. Collectors still whisper about it. Dealers still hunt for it. And who knows, maybe the next person to uncover one of these elusive coins will be you. But when one collector looked closer, he realized what he was holding could be worth up to $1.4 million. It wasn't gold, silver, or ancient treasure. It was a 2017 Lincoln penny. Ordinary to the eye. Extraordinary to the trained collector. What makes this coin so shocking is that it came from one of the most common years in modern minting history. Billions of pennies were struck in 2017. And yet, buried among them is a mystery so rare that only a handful of people have ever seen it with their own eyes. It started in Denver, at the U.S. Mint, where the D mint mark represents the city's signature. During production, an unexpected mechanical error created a coin that should never have existed. A misaligned die, a faint double strike, or an off-center impression, something tiny but powerful, turned a normal penny into a $1 million legend. The first discovery came quietly. A coin dealer in Colorado opened a roll of uncirculated pennies and noticed something strange. Lincoln's bust looked slightly doubled, almost like a ghost image. The lettering around the words, "In God We Trust," appeared blurred and thick. He thought it was a trick of light, until he saw the mint mark. That tiny D looked distorted, as if stamped twice. He took it under a magnifying glass, and his heart stopped. This wasn't just any coin. It was a 2017 D double die obverse, a near-perfect minting error that shouldn't exist in the modern era of high-precision machinery. Word spread fast through the coin community. Collectors were shocked. Dealers began checking every single 2017 penny they came across. Videos, photos, and coin forums lit up with questions. Was this real? How many existed? And if one could be found in circulation, how many more were still out there, sitting unnoticed in someone's pocket change? But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. At an auction, a pristine example of the 2017 D-era penny, still gleaming with its original red luster, sold for a jaw-dropping price. The bidding started modestly, but when experts confirmed its authenticity, the numbers climbed fast. 10,000, 50,000, 100,000, and then, almost unbelievably, over $1 million. Collectors couldn't believe it. How could a coin minted less than a decade ago command a price like that? The answer was in the details, those subtle imperfections that only the keenest eyes could see. The doubling on Lincoln's profile, the faint shift in the mint mark, and the flawless preservation of its copper coating made it a 1 in a billion survivor of a minting mishap. This discovery reignited the modern treasure hunt. Everyday Americans started checking their jars, their glove compartments, their couch cushions. People who never cared about coins before suddenly found themselves staring at their pennies under magnifiers, hoping to spot the tiniest clue that might change their lives. And then came another surprise. A collector in Texas found a second variation, this time with a die clash visible just above the date, 2017. The image of Lincoln's vest appeared faintly mirrored on the reverse side, creating an eerie reflection. Experts confirmed it was a legitimate die clash error, proof that multiple rare dies may have been used that year. The rumor spread, the 2017 D-Mint run might contain more than one valuable error, each worth thousands, or even millions, depending on condition and rarity. But there was something even stranger. Some coins showed an unusual copper tone, darker, almost reddish-black, suggesting a possible improper alloy mix. Metallurgists examined them and speculated that a few planchets meant for another denomination might have been mistakenly struck with the Lincoln cent dies. That kind of minting mix-up hasn't been seen since the famous 1943 copper penny, one of the most valuable coins in U.S. history. By this point, the 2017 D penny wasn't just a coin. It was a legend in motion, a living reminder that even in our age of digital perfection, miracles of metal still happen. Dealers were rushing to get their hands on any example graded MS68 or higher, knowing that each one could be a fortune waiting to be realized. But here's the most important part: how to spot it. Because if you're watching this, the next $1 million penny could be sitting in your home right now. First, look at the mint mark. You should see a bold D under the date 2017. Use a magnifying glass and check for doubling, an extra outline, a shadow, or a slightly distorted shape. Then, study Lincoln's eye, his jawline, and the letters. In God we trust. If any of those look thicker or doubled, you may be holding a doubled die obverse. Flip the coin. On the reverse, examine the Lincoln Memorial. If you see faint impressions of Lincoln's profile or letters bleeding through, it might be a die clash. Check for unusual copper coloration or off-center strikes. Anything that looks out of the ordinary could mean value beyond imagination. Condition is everything. A flawless coin with full red luster, graded mint state, by experts, can transform an ordinary penny into a $1 million miracle. Even slightly circulated versions can sell for thousands. So before you spend your next penny, take a moment to look closer. Because one small detail, one hidden error, could be worth more than a lifetime of pocket change. Collectors around the world are still hunting for the remaining 2017 D-Mint Mark Lincoln era pennies. Every month, new examples are being discovered in places no one expects: parking lots, vending machines, old piggy banks. And each discovery adds another chapter to one of the most thrilling coin stories of our time. This isn't just about money. It's about mystery, history, and the thrill of discovery. It's about knowing that sometimes the most valuable treasures aren't locked away in museums. They're right here in your hands. But when a sharp-eyed collector spotted something unusual, it turned out to be worth over $1.5 million. Yes, a simple 1988 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, the kind most of us have handled thousands of times, has shocked the coin world and changed someone's life forever. It all started like any ordinary day. A man was sorting through old pennies, looking for wheat cents or anything unusual. But one coin caught his attention. It looked perfectly normal at first, until he noticed something strange about Lincoln's portrait and the fine details of the design. What he had in his hand was not just a regular cent, it was one of the rarest modern errors ever discovered. Collectors were stunned when word got out. The 1988 no-mint Mark penny, usually struck in Philadelphia, hides one of the most fascinating mysteries in U.S. coinage history. Most of these coins are common, worth just a cent. But a handful, And we mean only a handful, were struck using the wrong die, one that was meant for a completely different year. You see, in 1988, the US Mint was preparing for design changes. But somehow, a few coins were accidentally struck with a die that had the reverse design from 1989. To the untrained eye, they look identical. But experts quickly noticed one key difference: the tiny letters FG on the reverse of the coin, near the Lincoln Memorial dot on the 1988 no-mint marked penny. The FG initials belong to an entirely different design, used only in 1989. That means this coin bridges 2 minting years, a mistake so small yet so important that it created one of the most valuable modern pennies in existence. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. One of these rare transitional pennies was sent to auction, where collectors competed furiously to own a piece of minting history. The final hammer price? Over $1.5 million for a single 1988 penny that once sat unnoticed in a jar. Dealers across the country began searching through boxes of old pennies, hoping lightning might strike twice. And as more people learned about this incredible discovery, the hunt intensified. Coin forums exploded with stories of collectors finding near misses, pennies that looked close, but weren't quite the real deal. Because this error is so subtle, thousands of people have probably looked right at one without realizing what they were holding. But here's where it gets even more fascinating. The 1988 no-mint marked penny with the wrong reverse isn't a flashy mistake. It's not double-struck or missing a date. Its power lies in what it represents: a moment when human oversight and machine precision collided. A tiny oversight at the mint created a miracle worth more than $1 million. Experts say that only a few examples have ever been confirmed. Each one discovered since has set off waves of excitement. The condition, of course, matters. Coins graded in pristine condition, known as mint state or MS, bring the biggest rewards. One MS-67 example sold for hundreds of thousands, and as the rarity became better known, its value skyrocketed. But what makes this story so powerful isn't just the money. It's the idea that a single penny, overlooked by millions of people, can become a symbol of luck, patience, and discovery. Imagine pulling one from your change, brushing off the dust, and realizing you're holding $1 million mistake. That's the dream that keeps collectors searching every single day. Now, here's what you need to look for. First, the coin must be a 1988 Lincoln cent with no mint mark, meaning it was struck in Philadelphia. Flip it over, and focus on the base of the Lincoln Memorial, right next to it. You'll see the designer's initials, FG. On the regular 1988 penny, those letters have a smooth, wide shape. But on the rare transitional variety, they're sharper, with a distinct angle to the G. That's the telltale sign you found the wrong reverse. The 1989 reverse on a 1988 coin. Be careful, though. Many counterfeits and machine-damaged coins try to mimic the look, but only genuine examples have that crisp, sharp FG and the distinct spacing between the letters. The reverse details will look slightly more modern than typical 1988 cents, subtle, but unmistakable to a trained eye. Collectors recommend checking rolls of pennies from banks, old change jars, and coin collections that haven't been touched in years. Because if one of these rare 1988 no-mint marked transitional pennies is still out there, it could be worth a fortune waiting to be found. You open a forgotten box of coins, see a dull old penny, and out of curiosity, take a closer look. You flip it under the light, and there it is, the sharp FG, the wrong reverse, the coin that only a few people on Earth have ever seen. Suddenly, that penny you almost spent becomes your ticket to $1 million miracle. Coin experts agree, this coin's value will only rise as more collectors chase it. Every year, fewer examples surface, and those that do are snapped up instantly. The story of the 1988 no-mint marked penny is a reminder that treasure doesn't always glitter in gold or silver. Sometimes, it's copper-colored, hiding quietly in your pocket. Change.so tonight. Before you toss your spare change into a drawer, take one last look. Because that ordinary 1988 penny sitting among the nickels and dimes might not be ordinary at all. It might be one of the rarest modern errors ever made, and it could be worth over $1 million. But when one man decided to take a closer look, he discovered something that would change his life forever. That tiny, unassuming 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln penny turned out to be worth a staggering $1.6 million. And what made it so valuable wasn't luck, it was a hidden error, one that almost no one noticed for decades. The story begins in 1994, a year when billions of pennies were produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Most were flawless, mass-produced coins made for everyday use. But somewhere deep within those minting machines, something went wrong. A handful of coins were struck using a special die that created an anomaly so rare, it would later shock the entire coin world. Collectors didn't know it existed, until one curious man spotted something unusual in his pocket change. He noticed Lincoln's portrait looked slightly different, sharper, more defined, as if it had been struck with more force than usual. And then, the clue that stopped him cold: there was no mint mark under the date. At first, he thought it was normal. After all, Philadelphia pennies often have no mint mark. But when experts examined it, they realized this coin wasn't just another cent, it was a minting marvel, a once-in-a-lifetime mistake that somehow survived quality control. When it hit the auction block, the bids went wild. Collectors from across the country couldn't believe what they were seeing. This ordinary 1994 penny, the kind millions of people handled daily, was climbing past six figures in value. And when the final hammer dropped, the room erupted. It sold for nearly $1.5 million. But the story didn't end there. But what happened next stunned the entire coin community. Experts began uncovering subtle variations between different 1994 pennies. Some had doubled lettering on Liberty, or In God We Trust. Others showed faint doubling on Lincoln's eye, a telltale sign of a rare double die error. These tiny imperfections, invisible to the casual eye, could mean the difference between a penny worth 1 cent and a penny worth a fortune. Dealers started scouring their collections, searching through old jars, bank rolls, and forgotten boxes of change. Stories emerged of people finding rare 1994 pennies tucked away in coffee cans or dresser drawers. One coin shop owner recalled a customer who brought in a handful of change, just to test his luck, and walked out with a small fortune. This was no longer just a collector's dream. It was a modern-day treasure hunt. The secret lies in its combination of rarity, condition, and minting error. In some cases, these pennies were struck on bronze planchets, leftover blanks from decades earlier, instead of the zinc-coated steel used in the 1990s. That composition error alone made them extraordinary. And when paired with a strong double die strike, it created a coin unlike any other in circulation. The experts say fewer than a handful are known to exist. But there's something even more fascinating. Many of these million-dollar pennies went unnoticed because they looked so ordinary. The edges were clean, the surfaces slightly worn, just like any coin you might get as change at the grocery store. One collector famously said, "The real treasure isn't buried in the ground, it's hiding in plain sight, right in your pocket." And he was right. But here's where it gets even more thrilling. The next discovery hasn't happened yet. Somewhere out there, another 1994 no-mint mark penny with the same mysterious traits could still be waiting to be found. Maybe it's sitting in a forgotten jar, resting between nickels and quarters, waiting for someone who knows what to look for. Start by checking the date. It must read 1994, with no mint mark below it. Next, look closely at the word Liberty and In God We Trust. If you see any doubling, letters that appear slightly shadowed or thicker, that's a major clue. Then examine Lincoln's face, especially his eye and jawline. Doubling there could mean you're holding one of the rarest pennies ever struck. Finally, pay attention to the coin's weight. A genuine copper planchet penny will weigh around 3.11 grams, while normal zinc ones weigh about 2.5 grams. That small difference could be worth $1 million payday. Collectors are still buzzing about this coin. Dealers at major conventions keep watch for any new examples. Auction houses quietly prepare for the next record-breaking sale. Because each time a coin like this surfaces, it rewrites history, and proves that hidden fortune can still be found in the most unexpected places. The next time you dump out your change, you might be holding one of the rarest coins ever made, a coin that could turn your ordinary day into a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. The 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln penny has already changed lives, and it could change yours too. But when one collector took a closer look, his heart nearly stopped. That ordinary-looking 1978 penny, with no mint mark at all, turned out to be worth up to $1.7 million. Yes, a single copper coin that could change your life overnight. At first glance, it looks like every other penny you've ever seen. Lincoln's familiar face. The words, "In God We Trust." The year 1978 beneath his portrait. Nothing special, right? But hidden within some of these no-mint mark 1978 Lincoln pennies lies a shocking secret. A minting mystery that's baffled experts for decades. It all began during a turbulent time at the U.S. Mint. In the late 1970s, machines were aging, quality control was slipping, and the transition to more modern minting technology was causing countless microscopic errors. Most were harmless. But every once in a while, one slipped through that would rewrite coin history. One such coin, a 1978 Lincoln penny struck in Philadelphia without a mint mark, somehow carried a unique blend of metal composition and die error that made it unlike any other. When discovered, experts were stunned. Under magnification, subtle doubling appeared in Lincoln's profile and lettering, suggesting a rare die clash. Even more shocking, the penny's weight didn't match standard copper specifications, indicating it may have been struck on a leftover planchet from a previous year. It wasn't until decades later, when a rare example surfaced at a private auction, that the world realized what they were dealing with. The coin sold for nearly $1 million, and rumors began spreading that even rare examples might still be out there. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Another collector from Illinois claimed he found a 1978 penny in his grandfather's change jar, no mint mark, slightly heavier than normal, with a brilliant, reddish tone. When authenticated, the penny matched the rare composition error. Its value skyrocketed. Experts estimated it could bring up to $1.7 million if sold today. Or could there be more of these 1978 no-mint mark errors hiding in plain sight, mixed in with the millions of ordinary pennies still circulating? The truth is, the 1978 penny was part of a transitional period between the classic 95% copper coins and later experimental planchets. A few slipped through the minting presses with incorrect alloys, die misalignments, or light doubling, features that today make them some of the most sought-after Lincoln cents in the world. These coins are ghosts of the minting process. They were never meant to exist. And that's exactly why they're worth so much. The mystery of how they survived adds to their legend. But the real shock came when another 1978 no-mint mark penny graded at a near-perfect MS-68 appeared on the market. Collectors went wild. Bidding wars erupted online. The final hammer price? Just shy of $1.5 million. That single penny, small enough to fit between your fingers, became a national sensation among coin enthusiasts. And here's the most incredible part: thousands of Americans may have one of these hidden treasures sitting in a jar, a drawer, or a box of forgotten change. You might have handled one and never known it. Start by checking for the absence of a mint mark under the ear. That means it was struck in Philadelphia. Next, use a precise digital scale. A genuine 1978 copper penny should weigh about 3.11 grams, but some rare error planchets weigh slightly more or less due to the wrong metal mix. That difference is worth a fortune. Look closely under a magnifying glass. Examine Lincoln's jawline, nose, and the word Liberty. If you notice slight doubling, where the letters or features seem to have a faint echo, you may be holding a double die strike, one of the most valuable minting errors in existence. And pay attention to color. True high-value specimens often have a stunning reddish-brown luster or a deep proof-like shine, showing minimal wear. Condition is everything. Pristine examples can multiply in value overnight. Some of these 1978 pennies were struck using older 1977 dies, giving them microscopic anomalies only visible under magnification. If you ever find one that looks just a little off, don't dismiss it. That imperfection could mean a payday in the millions. Every week, collectors are uncovering new varieties. Online auctions, estate sales, even pocket change hunts have revealed coins once thought impossible. Each new discovery reignites the fire in the coin community, reminding everyone that history can literally sit in the palm of your hand, and the story isn't over. Experts believe several unreported examples are still out there, hidden away in collections or coin jars, waiting for someone, maybe you, to recognize what they're truly worth. Imagine finding one. You're rolling pennies for the bank, and suddenly you spot a gleam, a slightly different texture, a tiny flaw that feels out of place. You weigh it, research it, and realize it's the one. The rare 1978 no-mint mark Lincoln penny that could fetch up to $1.7 million. Your life changes in an instant. Collectors call it the copper miracle, and for good reason. It's a reminder that sometimes, the smallest treasures carry the biggest rewards. So before you spend your spare change, take one last look. Because that ordinary penny you've overlooked 100 times might not be ordinary at all. It might be history. It might be fortune.